Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Happy Friday. Welcome to my weekly kind of live wrap up where I talk about current reads, what's coming up, things that I'm kicking around, showing cool stuff. A lot of times I show things that I get in books. Gorvidal, happy Friday. Yes, Gorvidal in the house. And so I got some of that going on tonight. Some cool current reads going on. Some stuff to show. Something pretty special that I found in a book. And then um, I kind of thought to open it up and explore evil characters, right? And like what makes a character kind of deliciously evil? What is it about an evil character that makes it memorable? I mean, like Darth Vader might be, number one in the popular culture of just an evil character that just is an archetype at this point. Yeah, PG in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Connor, happy Friday. Thanks for coming by. PG, I ain't finna read that is in there now. Um, you're the weak, and I'm the tyranny of evil men. That's great. I tell you, I've I I've been overwhelmed on the tenant. I need to get on it. I will read it. Probably read it over this next week. I started the Book of the New Sun, and it is just freaking fantastic. It's so cool. So I can't. I've just kind of been gripped by it. Is what it comes down to. So sorry about uh slacking up PG. I told PG I ain't finna read that. That I was ready to read the Tenant, and then read the first chapter, and then didn't keep on with it. Not that I don't want to read it right now. I do. So I just need to get to it. Hey, Jim reads too slow. Happy Friday. Awesome to see you for sure. Greg, another bibliophile reads in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Alexa. Happy Friday. Yes. Alexa in the house. My boy, Margaret Pernard. Hey, how you doing? Happy Friday. Thanks for coming by. And awesome to see everybody. Nick Voro in the house. That's what I'm talking about. The Falcon. See, so I was thinking Gore Vidal had said, Happy Friday, Falcon. Tyler. Uh, you can't get away from the judge in Blood Meridian when you're talking about evil characters. And I was like, man, I've been kind of just get a thought and get an image of the judge at some points when I'm just thinking about this. I read Blood Meridian a long time ago, and I don't even own a copy. I read it from the library, and uh, so I don't have it to show and to just kind of talk on like that. But it's a very evil character for sure, a kind of a personification of evil, and we'll get to it. I want to get to quite a bit of jumping into exploring evil characters and what we find about it. There's not a lot of I find a lot of horror and a lot of stuff that deals with conflict. There's not a direct person in a lot of literature that you can point to and say this is the bad guy, right? It's a system, or it's some conglomerate, conglomerate, some bureaucratic, bloated um, structure or something like that. You know what I mean? Hey, Book Nick, happy Friday. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Joker is a freaking fantastic evil character. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Hey, David Farley, happy Friday. Awesome. I got the Gorman Gast first two books, I think. I haven't read it yet, but the Book of the New Sun is getting me kind of geared up for it. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Livy, happy Friday. The Recognitions Book Club is in the house. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. We'll have some fun, PG. I ain't worried about it, brother. Um, I'm not worried about it. We'll have some fun with it. That's for sure. And and you know how we do. We're gonna talk it over, uh, before we make some content and decide what we want to do on it. There's some cool content on the Tenant cool enough, enough content on the tenant on booktube right now, even though it is limited, that we can do some content and approach it in any way we want, and as long as we don't kind of spoil it for people, I think we're good, right? Because it deserves to be experienced in the book. Yeah, that's right, Greg. There's a great group reading the Book of the New Sun right now, and Greg is part of it. Bam, that's what I'm talking about. Uh, Christy Louise Dostoevsky in Space, Christina from Books Knitting Etc. is in it, and so we'll see. Um, if she shows up tonight, she's usually here at some point. That's for sure. And uh, who else? There's quite a few. Maybe Tom LA Books is over there. It's gonna be fun, and I'm going through all 4 books. I'm gonna go through the whole series, and let's just get it right. Yeah, very cool, Margaret. Yeah, we're gonna get to some. So, um, before we get to big to how do you make it not flat, right? Well, I mean, uh situationally there's so much that goes on to show a character as evil, even though that character might be kind of gray, but have the capacity and the ability, like willingness to do evil. Hey, fit to be read, happy Friday, very cool. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, Bester's Ben Reich is an evil person all the way, right? I did pull out the Demolished Man to talk about tonight for sure. What a monster. What a complete monster. That guy with the alopecia. Oh my god. Drexel and True Romance, I know, right? Wow. I mean, just a total total waste of humanity. Hey, Ineffable, happy Friday. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right, everybody's here. Enough people's here anyways. So I reread, I've read this before, and I love it. For sure love it. It is The Kingdom of God is Within You by Leo Tolstoy. I will do a dedicated video on this one. I've been thinking about it so much since I've reread it. I have finished it already, but um still going to go over some more. This is kind of dense. It's not a narrative, and it is a response, because Tolstoy wrote a book called What I Believe late in his life. Sorry about that. And it got a lot of backlash when he wrote What I Believe. This was after he had a personal mystical Christian awakening in experience in his life, and has a very let's say unpopular idea of Christianity, but it is very undeniably drawn on Christ's teachings, and to take them to their logical end is something that Tolstoy does very, very well. It's a mind blow. It will piss everybody off. So it's going to be one of those videos where, it kind of pisses people off. The kind of things that are said. And Tolstoy, you know, just goes in. He's at the very end of his writing career, and he knows it. He's put everything out there that he wants to put out there, and it's very strong, and it's very assertive. Like it is pushing. It is challenging the status quo and all that stuff. Yeah, right on. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is definitely an evil character, and I wanted to get into it in that kind of way because it's not always a human being, right? Or it's not always a person that is the evil character. But I did want to differentiate and get away from an evil that is not personified. All right? Like an evil that is just in the cultural structure, or maybe it's like an oppressive technocracy, right? Or something like this. 1984 or whatever. Yeah, well, I haven't started it yet. Oh, Book of the New Sun. Yeah, I'm early. Yeah, I'm early. I just jumped into it, man. Alexa is jumping into it too. Uh and yeah, I jumped into that. I kind of wanted to start Bridge on the Drina and finish that and then start Book of the New Sun, but I started Book of the New Sun and I'm like hooked. I'm already to chapter 12. I finished chapter 11 just earlier. That is where Severian gets his crazy sword, Terminus Est. Now, uh, Terminus Est and the sword, this kind of thing is firmly in the sci-fi, genre, right? Our character has a weapon that is his. It's very, it's priceless. It's ancient, and it is something that is a companion to our main character. So the cool thing about his sword is it has a core of a metal that is liquid in its room temperature form. So it's a liquid metal that is super dense. So it's very, very yeah, right. So it's very, very, very heavy where it is. But so the sword has this core, and the fluid can kind of jostle around in there. So when you have the sword one way and the weight is all down, on your hilt, and then when you swing, the weight goes to the tip and it becomes massively strong. And it's just a cool little thing about the sword that has come up twice, or once in the book so far, maybe twice it was mentioned or something. And it's just reminds me of Elric's sword having something special to it. And other kind of fantasy, where there's a magic, Dritz Durden from the Dark Elf trilogy has his swords, and he has his magical, that trinket that has his panther in it. It's a magical item that he has. So there's definite fantasy elements to this. There's it's sci-fi in the way that it's set a million years in the future. Yeah, the lottery. That's exactly disembodied evil, right? The culture itself, right? It's gonna be awesome, Connor. Let me tell you. I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. Shadow and Claw, yeah, that's the first two. And so I can say that I found all of Gene Wolfe's Book of the New Sun on YouTube for free. Just look up audio of Gene Wolfe's Book of the New Sun, and you can find it for free because uh, I'm able to listen to anything I want at work a lot of times, just while I'm doing my woodworking, right? And so, uh, I'm not gonna sit and just jam out on music all day. I listen to enough music on my drives and things like that. So I've jumped into audiobooks, and why not see if I can find some free ones on YouTube. There is a playlist called Gene Wolfe Audiobooks, and it's awesome. I'll link it in the description box actually, because it's fantastic. It has a lot of stuff, but the complete Book of the New Sun for sure. Hey, baby. Happy Friday. Emily's in the house for sure. Hey, Jim reads too slow. Yeah, man. I I tell you, um, right in August, I thought, you know, what a failure of the society, really, because it's Joe Christmas's story is so painful, even from a kid, right? It's just a total failure. Oh my God, this guy. This guy. Okay, Alexa, I'll be on your heels then. And I'll talk about it while I read through it. And then you can jump on the Book of the New Sun. And then and we'll talk about that. I'm ahead of the game on that one, right? Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Very cool, Tyler. Very cool. What addition. I'd love to see it. I don't know that one. Kim Jong Il and the Orphan Master. Orphan Master's son. Hey, Tom LA Books. That's what I'm talking about. Tom's in the house. Tom's in for the Book of the New Sun as well. We're having some fun, even just talking about this world. So, what prompted it is Severin is an evil character. Undeniably, Severin is evil. All right, Severin is a torturer that has no kind of morality that we can understand because he will torture and kill somebody on demand as long as the order is given. And where the orders come from is not his business. What is going on is not his business. Anything out of the client, they're called clients. Anything that comes out of the client's mouth, he doesn't hear. But of course, Severin is different. Severin's not your normal torturer. He's more of a philosophically minded individual, and so he doesn't really fit in in the position that he's in. He is a product of that world, though, and so he is a very feared and you know he commands respect, not personally. He's kind of a soft spoken or a quiet type, from what I can tell. He doesn't speak any more than he has to, and he's just kind of subdued. He's very unemotional. uh Severian doesn't have any emotions to speak of. Even when he talks about emotion, you just kind of like, wait, but did you really feel that way? Because in it, I don't know if you really felt that way. It doesn't really. It's not how I would express that, right? And so in those ways that's different, there's where we see, well, what an evil kind of person somebody has that has the capacity and the willingness for evil, how they frame their experience or how they view the world. It's very well done. Gene Wolfe is very, very smart. He's a smart guy. He's a really smart writer, and it's going on really cool. Um, so, but then it kind of calls into question because Severian is not, kind of making a choice to be evil. This is just the way that it is. This is his job. This is his thing, and he's never been taught otherwise or shown anything different. Sorry about that. And so it's very interesting to get into this character, but I was immediately reminded of the Shrike from Hyperion. Right. It's if that's all they've taught you since birth, is it evil? Right. You need a choice. And it's like, is he making a choice? He's saying, "Hey Nancy, happy Friday." Nancy's in the read along too. So I was reminded of the Shrike. The Shrike comes up to Severian's character in a couple of ways because they're both all black. Of course, the Shrike is this metal character, something like this that you see on the front of the cover here. Just a spike demon, bringer of death is what the Shrike is. And Severian wears this black cloak that the black is so black that you can't even see it. It just looks like a black hole. So he's walking around in this black cloak and he has this mask. And you see him here. And I'll show you one of the coolest things. Um, He wears this mask and it's very intimidating. But it's just that's the garb. And he doesn't see anything. He's just like, yeah, well, this is what I wear when I do my job, when I perform my duty, you know? So it's very interesting to explore this kind of thing. I'll show you the piece, the very cool thing that I found because I found it inside of my book of the New Sun. It was in the back of it. This book was wrapped up in plastic, never opened before I opened it. And in it was a full size poster of the artwork for the cover. So we got the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. Don Matz is the artist here. And there you can see the artist's rendition of Severian and his mask, the torturer's mask. And he's got his cloak and his sword, Terminus S. Very cool, huh? So it's interesting. And then I think, well, okay, I'm thinking about evil characters and things like that. And it's like you have that's right. That's what I'm talking about. um there we go. Yeah. We'll see. Um it's this series has a lot to go, you know. 4 books. They're not long books, but it's 4 books, so it's a sizable thing. And we'll see a lot of changes and a lot of growth in the story and the narrative, and maybe with Severian as well, right? That's what I'm interested to see where Gene Wolfe really takes it and to get the story because you never know. So the most kind of evil characters that we can understand, even though they're some of the scariest, is ones like the judge from Blood Meridian, right? Human characters, human beings that are making very, very uh, messed up and evil decisions in their life. It's all good, Greg. Happy Friday, and you can catch it later if you got time and all that. I'll be doing it. I'll post it on the channel. It's all good. So characters like the judge, characters like one of my favorite characters that I love to hate on in literature is the bad guy in Charles Williams' War in Heaven. This guy is a total megalomaniac, egomaniac. Um and he is just he has a desire, he has something that he wants and he's going at it, and it doesn't matter who or what is in his way. He's going to lie and manipulate and hurt and just do and poison, and do whatever. There is no limit, it seems, to what this person will do. Damn someone else's soul to hell if he could, right? Like just complete monster. And in that, uh, you kind of think, I mean, I thought when I read it, I'm like, man, there's people that really are like this, and they don't realize that they're like that. Maybe some do. Maybe some are complete sociopaths or something, and they realize it, and then they embrace it or something. It's crazy. But an evil character that is a human being that is making evil decisions on purpose and this consciously, this kind of thing. And then and with science fiction and fantasy, these kind of things are everywhere. So a sci-fi, to kind of piggyback off of what was it, Hyperion is here. So the Hyperion is like a perfect fantasy example of this kind of thing. But in sci-fi, I thought about like Demolished Man, you know this kind of character that is a human being that's making very bad decisions, not uh Hyperion being human beings. uh we'll get to that in a second. But uh the human being in Demolished Man is a complete monster that continues. He's already kind of made a bad decision and started down a wrong track, and now he can't help himself but to just finish it out, because if he doesn't finish it off, if he's not successful, then he's completely lost. um he's got a, private detective on, not a private detective, he's got a high level police detective on him, chasing him, tracking him down, this kind of thing, the whole story. So he's out of options, and it's scary, the lengths that he goes to, for sure. He destroys people, and this kind of thing. So Severian is not that kind of person. You right? So Severian is not that kind of evil. He's not somebody who is, he's actually very kind to people that he comes in contact with, but he will, if somebody approaches him with money and a a a, a death that needs to have an assassination, uh, you know, essentially, then he's all for it. And it's just like there's this discrepancy here. Y'all are funny. So, Severian's state, his position is this kind of thing where is it is he an evil person? And that kind of thing is up in the air, especially with me right now, just kind of starting it. But there's this kind of evil people, evil characters that are a like a personification of evil, but is not a human being, like the judge, or like um the other characters that I've pointed out in Demolished Man, things like that. And that's a character like the Shrike, that is actually not a human being, but it is a character. And another one that would kind of play into this, that kind of is, kind of isn't a human being, is the Man in Black from Stephen King's Dark Tower series, and also Stephen King's Mythos. This character of the Man in Black. The battle with the giant flower. I don't think that I've gotten to that part yet. I don't think that I've gotten to a battle with a giant flower. There is a lot of plants and flowers and things like that in the Book of the New Sun. Uh, there's this kind of weird uh flower or plant human relationship, symbolically, and also in how it's playing out in the world, and in Severian's experience. It's weird. I don't know where he's going with that yet. Gene Wolfe, for sure. But the Man in Black in this one is a kind of like more what I think of an archetypal evil person, kind of like a Satan or something like that, right? And the Shrike is like that as well, from Hyperion. The Shrike is this, like, the personification of death, is what it is. Brings death to everything that it touches. So in that, the Shrike is shown not to be necessarily evil, in the Hyperion canto, in the 4 books. And I want to say that, like, evil denotes the kind of thing that Tom was saying earlier, where you're making a conscious decision to do wrong, to do negative, and to hurt rather than help yourself and others, and this kind of thing. Death is a part of life, right? There is no life without death. If there was no death, we wouldn't have a word for life, because it would just be what it is. It would be like that all the time, and that's just what it would be. It would just be what it is. It would just be an isness of reality, right? So we have life and death, and they are dependent on each other for their existence. So the Shrike is not evil. The Shrike is death itself, and there is a relationship between humanity and death that needs to be understood, that isn't necessarily good, bad, evil, or any of that kind of stuff. Any of those words doesn't really apply, right? um the Man in Black in the Dark Tower definitely does apply, definitely does apply. He does get like cornier. Yeah, he becomes this kind of magician that is pretty much ineffectual by the end of it. He's a cog in the wheel. He's, used by the real bad guy, which is the Crimson King, right? And the Crimson King is the destroyer of reality, the destroyer of the Dark Tower, the destroyer of literature, the destroyer of fantasy, the destroyer of the world. That's what the Crimson King is, and the Crimson King is evil, um, because it is an extreme and not part of what should be, or what, you know in the final analysis, is necessary at all. It's an uh, I want to say it's kind of an extreme, but it's grotesque. The Crimson King is grotesque for sure. Yeah. Um. I don't. When I was looking through books, I was looking at bookshelves and things and thinking about evil characters in literature. There's so many books that there's overwhelming conflict and good and bad, good versus bad, and these kind of things. But the evil is not personified by a character effectively. I mean, there's characters that act out the evil or the conflict in that way, but they are left in a way where there's a room for redemption for them, things like that. They're regular people doing what they have to do in the situation or something like that. So you don't, as a reader and as the experiencing the story, you're not slapping them with the label of evil, in your reading, that kind of thing. So um in film, there's definitely a lot of a propensity to, put that character in front of you, the bad guy, so that everybody can point their finger and say that's the bad guy, right? For sure. Who can read anything while the Johnny Depp trial is going on? No, I'm not watching. Emily's watched quite a bit of it though. I'm This is so funny. This is so funny. That's what I'm talking about, PG. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Set your sights, see the goal clear, execute. Go for it. And Anton Chigurh is a great yes. So, when it comes down to it, there's this kind of, somebody can be bad, or there can be characters that are the bad guys, right? But they're not evil. They're just doing what they do, right? Something like that. And a perfect example of that comes from Perdido Street Station. The bad guys, the ultimate things that are going to destroy the entire civilization if they're able to, is these moths. They're called slate moths, and they uh, eat people's unconsciousness, their dreams. They destroy their minds. And destroy and eat people's thoughts and minds, but on an unconscious level. They make people go crazy, and then they feast on that It's ridiculous. So those animals, they're animals, right? They're just doing what they do, and they will destroy everything if they're left unchecked. Being an alpha predator in the culture, in the society, right? And that's what they're dealing with. This is an amazing book. This is an amazing read if you've never read Perdido Street Station. There is a video on my channel from over a year ago when I read this one. It was a great reading group, and I mean, the book still sticks with me. There is another there. This book is full of uh wild and characters that kind of help us to explore this kind of theme, evil characters and evil or bad or what have you, right? So we have the slate moths that are these animals that are just doing what they do. They're not exactly evil, right? But then we have the Weaver. So there's a character in Perdido Street Station called the Weaver, who is pretty much godlike in his power. Y'all are so funny. See, there you go. She might say something about it. So the Weaver has like a godlike power, can manipulate the reality itself, make things happen. But there is a way that it is to be done. Some way that it has to be done. There's a huge system to reality, right? And our keeping things in balance, making sure things work, right? And so that kind of thing, that character, the Weaver, comes in and plays a pretty big part in Perdido Street Station. And that character is completely horrifying, maybe scarier than the Slate Moths. The Slate Moths are completely badass and you're completely helpless. You just, you couldn't do anything you couldn't even think of a way to fight against this kind of thing. But the Weaver is something that is completely unknown that will completely blow your mind, right? Um, Things happen because they have to happen, and there's no understanding of why it might have to happen. And that's the kind of thing that makes it even scarier because it's kind of beyond human comprehension. It's beyond any kind of scale of good or bad or evil or right or wrong or anything like this, right? It's just it's just unbelievable. Uh to think about an evil like that, right? Now, that's not, I mean, to think of a character like that, like I say, a godlike character. So if that character is not, humanity is not on, it's not on humanity's side. It doesn't want to destroy humanity. Humanity is part of this whole construct, but it's not looking out for it's not a respecter of persons, right? Any kind of quote like that, any kind of thing that you can attribute to God is no respecter of individuals. That would be what, it would apply to the Weaver because this kind of thing is on and above uh, any kind of ethic that we can understand. Oh my God. PG, you're killing me, man. Yes. Y'all can check out the chat if you if you're watching later. I'm not putting that one up on the screen, but it's hilarious. Oh, Amber Heard. Yes. So another thing is, see, the Shrike starts being this really scary. I mean, right off the rip in Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion, the Shrike is a mean mamma jamma, right? I mean, like, just he's or it's just an unstoppable destructive force, right? And then we see that you see through Fall of Hyperion and yeah, through the Fall of Hyperion for sure. You see that the Shrike isn't necessarily evil. The Shrike and the humanity have a relationship, and there's something to that. And at the end of the third book, Endymion, you meet characters that are truly evil, and they are the Nemesis creatures. The Nemesis are completely devoid of humanity, AI, computer generated, computer created beings. They are cold, calculating, have no feeling whatsoever, no emotion whatsoever, and are just um, completely, something else. They're scary as hell, and they're not, and they're scary because they're not human, and humanity has no value to them at all. It's just their substance, their substance has value, but what an individual is has no value at all. And it's wild. But then, okay, so the Nemesis creatures are completely evil, right? Well, Severin has attributes of the Nemesis creatures. Severian is very unemotional. There's no emotional quality to Severian's life. He looks at it as a negative to have emotional responses in any kind of way. In the Book of the New Sun, Severian, even when he feels eyes on the back of him, he's walking through somewhere looking for a library, I believe is the part, and somebody comes onto him, a female, maybe one of the witches, I'm not sure, but a female comes upon him and says, "Hey, or is just watching him, and he can feel that somebody's watching him. So he's getting that sense that somebody's watching him. He doesn't know where it's coming from or who it is, but he gets that sense, and he says, "I'm not going to turn around," and like it would be a loss of dignity for him if he turned around, because he would give in to a base intuition. That's what he called it, a base intuition. Okay, intuition is not a base. I mean, it is a foundation. Intuition is a foundation. It's one of our senses. It is a sense that we have, right? But it's not a base level thing like you know, uh, something that you should overcome. It's something that you should foster and understand and gear and use. It's a tool. Intuition is a faculty, right? So it's that kind of thing where I saw that Severian has just a completely different way of looking at experiences of the world and what it means to conduct yourself that is not necessarily human, right? Because a cry and a begging, um pleading for your life with Severian would never get you anywhere, right? A cry, he doesn't regard cries of people and things like that at all, right? There's none of that. Sorry. I keep dropping the mouse, but that's how it goes. So it's very cool how Gene Wolfe is walking this line with Severian, and it was interesting to me to think about what kind of evil characters and their kind of attributes that make them scary or make them evil and scary, things that kind of characters that I get into, and then I go, that's a great evil character or something. How does it work? What is it that is about it that is informing that, and then how does it work out with other characters that might be being shown in a different kind of light? Hey Trish, happy Friday. All good to join late. Um, we're getting we're getting I'm not blowing out Dan Simmons, that's for sure. I'm not blowing I'm not blowing out spoilers. um But, how far are you in Dan Simmons? Are you reading Nancy, uh, the Hyperion Canto? Because I'm definitely down for that. Lago from 100 bullets. Oh my God. Oh, is that who you're talking about? Lago from 100 bullets? Oh my God, what a freaking monster! Just a complete monster. Nice. Right. Yep, yep, yep. You know it. From Othello. Nice. Okay. Uh, Alan Moore has he has some great evil characters. Some of them, you have a little bit of sympathy for, some of them you don't. Some of them have some redemption to them, some of them don't. Uh, but I think that the visual medium, that's why I went to 100 bullets. Like how we were saying earlier about in the visual movies, it's more pointed that you're going to have the bad guy, somebody you can point at and say, this is the bad guy, this is the bad group, this is the evil person, and feel free not to have any sympathy with them for them, right? Um, Same thing with graphic novels, same thing with any visual medium. You want to put a face to it. You want to have the line up there and be able to call it out. Cool. Cool, cool. The first book is fantastic, isn't it? I really like the second book a lot. It's probably I might even like it better than the first one. It's great. But the four books, I mean, all together are unbelievably good. I love what Dan Simmons does with it. It's a big it's wild. It's very ambitious and it works. He pulls it off, I think. Yeah. That is an evil thing. I mean, really anything that is totally self-centered and disregards the other is evil. Period. So even down to, any conscious decision that is completely motivated by the self and disregards any other is evil. Period. You know. So, uh cool exploration. Um I don't have much else on it. There's a lot more that I've thought of to say when I'm sitting here thinking about doing this, but of course, I've gone all around it. I've gone through it in different ways, and some like I've thought of and some like I didn't, and we could probably go through it over and over, right? There's a lot of literature that does just explore the idea of evil, and can we ever even really be good in any kind of way? So it's always interesting. How about Satan from Paradise Lost, right? A great evil character is Satan from Paradise Lost. Definitely the star of that show, right? All right. So it's been a long week, and I definitely am working tomorrow as well. I'm loving the new job. It's really, really, really cool. There's something about working with wood, the smell of it, how it is on your skin, working with wood, being just developing that kind of relationship with wood. There's something to be said about it. It's really cool. The dust, the sand, the sawdust, and just being able just manipulating the wood and seeing that it's here for us. It's fulfilling its purpose by me doing what I'm doing with it. It's for us to build and to make things out of, and nothing but thankful and beautiful experiences with it. I'm definitely growing in a way through this job. I'm doing very well. I'm getting a lot of praise, and I'm doing very, very well. Just in case anybody is wondering. So I'll catch you on the next one, BookTube. I'll shut it down for this Friday night. Thank you for crushing an hour with me, where we talk about some cool books. And tonight was a cool discussion. I think. I hope people got something out of it, or at least enjoyed yourself. And I'll catch you on the next one. Library book sales tomorrow. Count me in. All right, we're going for it. See you later, BookTube. Bye bye.